In at number 10, we have the Rock Drake. And what makes this creature particularly festive? And I'm not just going to go for Christmassy tames. The Megalosaurus is not on this list, if you didn't know already, because, you know, I don't really like that creature. And nearing the festive season, you do want to treat yourself a bit. So some of these creatures are just like treat creatures, and this is one of them. And the reason why it is only in at number 10 is just the fact that this thing only does spawn on Arboration, as far as I'm concerned. It used to spawn on the original version of Aguero, but since its release as an official, well, it's an unofficial map, but it's an official DLC, they were removed. Either way, they're only really useful on that map as well. And, you know, they're kind of only really just adequate for that map, and other maps they struggle with. But on Arboration, if you're an Arboration kind of guy, these things are going to be extremely useful, and they're going to be a treat, and you should really get one at some point. These creatures just pack a punch in the damage department, and they also really do pack a punch when it comes to obviously the mobility, the damage, everything really. I don't know why I'm repeating myself so much, but pretty much everything about this creature is perfect. If they could fly instead of glide, they'd be useful on like every map. But, you know, for cheesing Rockwell as well is another thing that you could mention, that these things are great to do with some Lazarus Chowder. Yeah, these things are definitely a really treat creature, and you know, if you decorate it up in some Christmas colours, it can be one of the most festive tames out there. Next up, we have the Mwing. And isn't there just something inherently festive about this creature in its looks? I guess just the platypus is the platypus, you know? It is literally a flying platypus, so you can't really discount that. And just its character, and also its insanely great use. Again, this is a little bit of a treat creature, but one which I think every Ark player can cash in on, as long as you have the right maps to get these things to spawn on. As I said, it was unlocked at level 19, and they're a really, really easy tame. And, you know, the fact that their saddle was unlocked so early on is a huge, huge benefit. Like, these creatures are one of my favourite, if not my favourite, tame to use out there in the game at the moment for general travel. Again, yes, I am playing Extinction, so they're not going to be like the best on Extinction, but, you know, still, my point stands. These are really great travel mounts, and they're really great for breeding in the festive season as well. You know, breeding those mutated colours to get those festive colours out on official, or you could just paint your dinos. But, you know, getting those colour mutations is very fun, and these things can help you with that, and they can gather berries too. There's just a lot to like about this creature. And again, I don't know what it is about the Shadowmane, but I kind of see something festive in this creature too, in a way. And again, it can be under another treat creature. Maybe I should make a video of like the 25 creatures for all the 25 days of the December calendar. Put that in the comments down below if you do want to see that. But in terms of this thing's festiveness, yes, you're not going to say it's inherently Christmassy, but if you have one of these things around, it is definitely going to be a party for you. They are one of the best tames in the game. So full of any kind of abilities which you could be looking for. Unless it's just, I don't know. Actually, if you want a flying creature, maybe don't look here. Although, it does have some great mobility. It can just jump into the air like an absolute madman. But it also does have the pack buff, the hydration buff, like the Spino. And it is a really great swimmer as well. Its only real downside being its taming method, which can be a drag at the best, really. And it can be an absolute nightmare at the worst, unless you've just got the luck of the gods, and then you're just insane at taming these things with no problem at all. I'm not one of those people. Next up, we have the Basilisk, and the Basilisk has to be on this list. Actually, a lot of people at the moment are rewatching all of the Harry Potter films since Dumbledore died, and also it's just an inherently Christmassy film, so I feel as if this creature fits in as in the second film, which I think is called The Chamber of Secrets. If I got that right, comment down below if I got that wrong. Yeah, there is a Basilisk at the end of it, so the Basilisk definitely does have that festive feel, and although you may not associate it with Christmas, you're going to see a lot of big monsters and basilisks and things like that around Christmas time, so it kind of does make sense. And again, it is a little bit of a treat creature, although its tame method is frankly awful, and you should never go for it. But if you stick a Christmas hat on this thing, it's going to look absolutely dashing, and you can have a lot of fun on the way too, which just, you know, it's an extra bonus really. Now this creature is probably one of the biggest treat creatures out there, and with such an easy taming method, I have to put it on, and it's like the glorified raptor, and there is so much fan art of these things with a Santa hat chucked on. You could just chuck one on these things. Christmas is already here. This is like one of the best presents that you could possibly get in Ark, if anyone was actually to give me a present in Ark. If they gave me a Deinonychus, I know that person is definitely a friend to keep, and for obvious reasons, namely their bleed ability, which can not only grip onto creatures and absolutely thrash them with no chance of you letting go, it also carries over to bosses as well, which is absolutely insane. And no other creature, as far as I'm concerned, does actually warrant this ability. And also on top of that, they do have the pack buff as well, which is nice. They also don't take full damage, which is a little bit of a godsend, so you don't have to keep dismounting every time you jump from a high height, because if you're someone like me and you travel around the Ark map a lot, that's going to happen a lot, and it just wastes loads of time and fun when traveling around. And, you know, the fact that they don't take full damage is just a nice little bonus really that I can take with me and be confident in myself that obviously I'm not going to die when I go out traveling, especially considering this creature deals a heck of a lot of damage, and if I'm taking one to bosses, it's a really fun time as well. And into ASA, when these things release in that as well, I'm sure they're going to be one of my favourites again too. In at number 5 is the Snow Owl, and you know, Christmas has a lot of snow around it, so it makes sense why I'd put this creature on the list. Also, it does have a very big relation with the creature, which is in the number 1 spot. And also, if you can still remember what the thumbnail is, the creature in at number 1 is also in the thumbnail of this video. If you want to go check, you can go check. It's that creature that's in at the number 1 spot. Either way, back to the Snow Owl. This thing has a wealth of abilities, namely that glide ability, which is very significant with creatures like the Griffin, and now the Desmodus obviously has it too. But in terms of its PvP use, it has a very big advantage as well, with a sort of heat-seeking ability where you can seek out any organism that may be lurking out there. And essentially, it will shorten your color range to just being that purpley orange that you're seeing here, and then everything else will just be a black-y grey, and you get a little bit of a film grain effect on top of that too. Yeah, it is definitely a very useful ability, again, for PvP, someone's trying to raid your base, or you're just trying to find a player that you need for any reason. It's great. It's also great on PvE if you're just trying to track down a small dino. You also want to level up that stam, because their main ability is healing dinos, and they do this by just kind of curling their wings together and then freezing them, and then boom, they get healed. It's actually a really great ability, especially for wild tames. If you're taming them and their health is really low, you can heal those creatures right back up, and then that tame is going to be so much easier, and you're not going to run the risk of killing it or actually kill the tame. Also, if you're trying to tame a high level creature and it's getting absolutely battered by other creatures, you can use that as well, and just keep freezing it every single time until its health is up to a reasonable level, and then help it with the assistance of killing all of the dinos in the area. And yes, it's not really going to rack up to something like the speed of the Managama, but the versatility of this creature is great. And again, if someone wants to give me this as a Christmas present in the Ark game, I would be significantly grateful for this creature, and I really think it is a tame worth taming. Next up, we have the Crystal Wyvern. And, you know, I feel like if you got a Christmas tree and you got one of these and you put it on like miniature scale and it lit up, it would be just a really great Christmas tree decoration. It just seems like a very decorative and bright, colourful creature. It is literally just full of crystal. Like, it's a crystal wyvern. It's a really bright and colourful creature, especially the water one more than the blood one. You know, maybe the blood one kind of relates more to Halloweeny times, but there's just something festive about what am I talking about? There's just something festive about this creature, and the way it looks, and just the way I don't know. It's wyverns in general. They are just quite festive tames, but especially with the looks, and again, just they would make really great Christmas decorations. If wildcards sold those, so many of these things would be sold. And I swear, if you go on Etsy, you could probably find some crystal wyvern Christmas-like decoration Christmas tree thingamajigs. That's definitely what the listings are going to be called. And considering their very easy taming method and also very easy map to get because it's a free DLC map, it's great that you can have the crystal wyverns around and then use these things for that Christmas season, and they will definitely bode you well, as they are essentially just wyverns but really easy to tame, so nothing's bad about these things at all. And with their Christmassy colour scheme, you can't really go wrong with calling these things festive. Right, the Theory is in at number 3, and you might be a little bit confused what's festive about this creature. And honestly, I don't know, but just the character of this creature screams festive. When I was making this list, I always decide my top 3 first. I'm not going to spoil the top 2, but in at number 3, I wanted to put the Theory here, and it makes sense to me. You can always make the joke about its saddle being unlocked at level 69.
Nice.
Gets me every single time, and I enjoy it every time I edit that into any video. And then when I'm watching back the videos while responding to your comments and I just see that pop up, it just makes me smile, and I hope it makes you lot smile out there too. And it really does make my day every single time. That's why I put it in my videos a surprising amount. And actually, last time I put the Theory in the list, I said the joke and then forgot to edit it in. I guess I was just having a really tired day and I wasn't really caring in the editing process of the videos, but it would have definitely been in this one because I'm going to do it just after I have done this voiceover. And they're also really useful tames on top of just being that festiveness, jokey, tickle chicken creature. They're great at gathering berries and fiber and wood and thatch. These things are absolute legends for all of that. And if you want to fight the dragon on the island, they're pretty much your best bet for creatures that actually natively spawn on the island, as they do a heck of a lot of damage for a herbivore, and no other herbivore can really rack up to that. Yeah, the stego can, but it's really slow. In at number 2 is the Raptor, and you know why this thing has to be in at the number 2 spot. Raptor Claws is Raptor Claws, and Raptor Claws is the reason why the Ark Festive season exists. This is the rationale behind everything. The Raptor Claws is the beast. And besides that, there isn't really too much festive about the actual just Raptor itself. It's just Raptor Claws just makes sense. And the creature in at number 1 sounds very, very similar to Raptor. And again, it's the thumbnail of this video. I hope you can remember what that thumbnail was. It's actually probably ridiculously obvious. I don't know why I'm treating you all like babies at this point. Either way, the Raptor is a great tame, which actually, even in this season, although you can't really tame Raptor Claws, a Raptor is a great tame for any Ark player. You can just tame anything on any map because they pretty much just spawn everywhere. Just unlike every map, they're just always there. Especially on Arboration, because I think those things can still jump on that map, and that scares me to this day. But yeah, Raptors are everywhere, and they're really great tames. They're just great for dealing damage in the early game, and they really just kick you up off of your feet for the slow, really frankly difficult learning curve of Ark when you start. And then yeah, you're going to progress in the game so much faster with one of these creatures. And you know, what better gift in the festive season to have other than the beautiful Raptor Claws giving you presents every single night. So yeah, it kind of had to be in at the number 2 spot, didn't it? And in at number 1 is the Gacha, because of Gacha Claws, which can be found on any Ark map in the festive season, and you'll just see them around, and you can trade stuff which you'll get from Raptor Claws to Gacha Claws, and you can get some special resources from it. And honestly, I can't remember what they are because it's been a while since the last Christmas event, and yeah, I have some very fond memories of Gacha Claws. And the Gacha, I guess, is just a really festive creature as well. It is a creature of giving. It literally just gives resources out like that. Like, there's no issue with it at all. These things will just give you resources passively. When you give it snow owl pellets, it's going to give you insane resources as well. And Gacha Claws is no different. It's going to give you a variety of resources. Obviously, you can't tame those things, but they really are the peak of the Ark festive season for me. And although Raptor Claws does run it, you're going to spend a lot more time in contact with Gacha Claws, so it makes sense why it's deserving of the #1 spot. But anyway, that is the end of today's video, and I really hope that you all enjoyed this one, as I really did enjoy making it, and I can't wait for the festive season to truly be here. And as always, comment down below the most festive Ark Tame, and I'll see you all later.